Alrighty, you are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants. You're taking on the 0-16 Chicago Bears. And why are the Chicago Bears 0-16? Because they suck. They've only won one Super Bowl. They haven't won nothing since the 63 championship. So basically, in the last 60 years, Chicago Bears won one championship because they suck. Man, that just gets me every time. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there who's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I really appreciate it. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth on for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to as fast as I can, so please feel free, fire away. But also, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please, feel free, fire away. Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. First one's called, unfortunately, the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third one I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video up, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge, right? What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share it. That'd be freaking awesome. And finally, also, a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that in just a minute. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. Can't stand change. Get off my lawn! One of them old-time farts, right? I like things just the way they are, right? It's a Twitter link. It's always been, to me, it's always been Twitter. It's always been Twitter. It's Twitter today. It'll always be Twitter. Always. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. I'm calling it Twitter. Right? Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. And then also, the link just on top of it, it's my Facebook group. It's a Facebook link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's very, very original, I know. We have over 8,100 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. Stop sitting down out of the way with. Well, boy, let's start talking about quarterback, shall we? This is pretty much seems like devoting a lot of this stuff to quarterbacks. And even pretty much, I guess you want to talk about, we'll go over that in a little bit. There was a suggestion of maybe a Giants trading back into the first round. Now, they're not doing that to grab a punter either. You know what I mean? So they're trading back into the first round. The only thing is I'm saying is that they're doing that if they're knocking right on the Super Bowl door, right? And they're just about ready to kick the Super Bowl door in, but they need like they get one stud or something, whatever, you know what I mean? And that would just almost put them over the edge, right? Then I could see him trading back into the first round, okay, giving up extra draft capital, right? For I don't know, say, it's just say they got everything, but they need that one wide receiver or something, whatever. You know what I mean? I can see maybe jumping back into the first round, maybe getting, going after somebody, get for 5 years, I know that, but I mean, if they're jumping back in the first round, it's for a quarterback, right? But we'll get to that in just a little bit. But we go to the old PFF, right? We got the draft board here. Now, this is basically what they got here as far as in their minds, right? This is the PFF rank of the players all together. Now, Caleb Williams, straight up number one, right? Drake May is the third. Who is number two? Marvin Harrison Jr. They got as number two. Okay. Then we got Malik Neighbors as 4. So Malik Neighbors obviously would be the third ranked quarterback. Then they got Alt. Then Dunzier. Then they got Brock Bowers. Interesting. So, I mean, you can see here, I mean, like, you know, what do we got here? Hold on here. Oh, that's what I'm like, who are we missing? Daniels. Where's Daniels at here? Whew. What? Where the heck is? Oh, 21. Wow. They got him. It's interesting because he's, according to, you know, overall, the number one graded quarterback last season was Jaden Daniels, but he's the 21st overall. Right. Actually, and would wind up being so it would be the third. He would be the third ranked quarterback. But just because these guys are in this order, this is just according to PFF. Does not in any way, shape, or form mean this is the way these guys are going to be drafted. Now, I've even heard some, you know, I've heard some draft, you know, gurus and all that. They're like Daniels instead of May. So a lot of it's got to do with Daniels is, you know, May might be a better passer but whatever, but a lot of these like seem like the gurus or whatever, you know, and I can't really argue with them because I don't spend 37 hours a day watching film. Don't do it. Not going to do it. Right. So I take, you know, the stuff these guys come up with is, you know, very, very, you know, I regard, or, you know, the highest regards, a lot of these guys, you know, who spend a lot of time, they trade their lives basically getting, you know, information on these guys. So some of them actually grade Daniels a little bit higher than May because of his athletic ability. You know, my one thing is that, you know, and obviously, yeah, I mean, you know, you get guys, I mean, there's just obviously certain guys out there that just absolutely just freaks. The thing I don't like about quarterbacks that run, that's a big portion of their game, right? They have to be able to run. The thing I don't like about that is now we're in a 17-game schedule, right? 18 weeks. You know, a lot of guys, they don't necessarily play in the exhibition games. I get it and all that. That makes a lot of sense. But it's a long, long season, you know. I mean, there's a lot from you go from your waist on down, there's a lot of body parts down there, right? And if you get one of them or so that's sore or broken or twisted or pulled or this or that or you know, and you can't run. Yeah, I mean, all it takes is one hit. You know, one wrong step, you twist your ankle. One that you pull your hamstring, you break a turf toe, you break a toe, you break that, what? You know, all of a sudden now you can't run. You know, can you stand in the pocket if you have to and guard your team down the field, or do you have to run and pass to be successful? You know, I'm not saying you we're cutting one of your legs off and we're cementing you to the ground and all like that. But I mean like with Patrick Mahomes, remember against the Eagles, he's like basically hobbling around. I don't know how much of that was for show or what, but you know, if you're hobbling around, what it looked like in any way, Patrick Mahomes hobbling around on one leg. Okay, you know. So I'm saying, so if like maybe Daniels, if he was hobbling around like Patrick Mahomes was, and he's nowhere near as effective as he would be as a runner, okay, can he stand in the pocket if you had to and direct the team down the field? Yeah, because also that too. Because if you're a little weak throwing the ball, they try to get where they collapse the pocket, right? Maybe they might keep a spy on you, keep 4 guys, right, and have somebody spying on you, especially if you're a running quarterback and you got a little hitch in the giddy up, a little something wrong with you, and you're not running a 4.40. Okay, you got a little hitch in the giddy up, and now you're running a 4.740, right? Because you got a pulled hamstring or twisted knee, whatever. Then they could put somebody spy on you and kind of keep you at bay somewhat. You might run out of the pocket, but you're not going to outrun the spy because now you're not running a 4.4, right? So your escapability has come down quite a bit. If need be, can you stay in the pocket if you had to, right? And can you direct your team down the field? A lot of it also you have to look at it too, right? It's like with Daniels. Obviously freakish athlete. You see the dude getting the open spaces and all that, but like with Lamar, right? He's got the moves. They were talking a lot more like with Jaden Daniels. He's kind of like a north and south kind of guy. Like whatever, if he gets up in north and south, might be sayonara. But Lamar's got like some moves and everything. That's what makes Lamar even more special. Like Jesus, Jiminy Crickets. You get Michael Vick in the open. Good luck and God bless, man, trying to tackle that freaking guy. Holy cow. But the one thing was with Vic was, he ran a lot. And a lot of times he would take extra shots. And what I always thought it was not fair for him. Okay. Now, to be fair, a lot of times he would get maybe an extra shot or a late shot or whatever. He was out of the pocket. He becomes a running back. Okay. Now, but also, once again, to be fair, I did hear him on occasions mention that he was taking shots that other guys, he was maybe taking shots and they weren't calling penalties on him. If the shots he was taking were taken on Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or something like that, the guy who gave the shot would get kicked out of the game, would be fined, and if he ever did it again, he'd probably be kicked out of the league or something like that. But if they did it on Michael Vick, was kind of like, I didn't see nothing. But also, Michael Vick, as I said, a lot of times running out of the pocket. He's outside. He's basically like a runner, right? So sometimes, as far as him being protected as a quarterback, kind of goes by the wayside when you wind up, running all the time. You don't see Tom Brady, running 13 times a game for 112 yards. That just don't happen. You don't see Peyton Manning run. Right? He runs off the sideline after he threw a touchdown pass. That's what. Yeah, but as with as I said, so the way they had these quarterbacks ranked PFF, it does not necessarily mean they're going to come off the board. Now, where is McCarthy at here? Oh, okay. He's right there, 29. Okay. So once again, he's 29, which would mean he'd make it almost out of the first round. Now, I'd be rather shocked just once again, just the way you keep hearing things. I would be rather shocked if J.J. McCarthy's making it out of the first, getting this far. Now, once he might even make it he may not even make it to number 5, right? According to some analysts, right? But of course, we can probably pretty much chalk up Caleb Williams here going to the Bears, right? Then we got either Drake May. Well, right here, and whether it's smoke screens or not, you're not sure. But you also hear sometimes that J.J. McCarthy going to the Commanders, but you're pretty much sure that one of these 3 is going to the Commanders. Now, the biggest question now would be, what about the Patriots at number 3? Now, as I said, there's different ways. I got to share my screen. I'm not even sharing my screen. This is horrible. There we go. There we go. You know what I'm saying? Right. Now, the one thing is like with the Patriots is they need a lot, right? The Commanders need a lot too, but they went out, and I'm not a big fan of this. They went out and they brought in like 312 different free agents. They went out and their GM straight up went to Gurley World, right? He went, oh, money for you and money for you. He brought in a lot of free agents, and I'm not a real big fan on that. Going in and bringing in 313 different players, to bring in and throw them on the team. Okay, guys, win some football games. You want to have your culture and all of that. You want your coach, right? And, the GM, the coach, they bring these new guys in, okay, draft them, develop them, get the culture going and all that stuff and build from there instead of just bringing in a whole bunch of new guys and throwing them out there in the field. All right, guys, go get them. Not a big fan of that. But like with the Patriots, I mean, I could see, see a lot of things with the Patriots. You can certainly see them staying put, but I mean, they'd have to grab the third best quarterback. They may not be in love with the third best quarterback. You can also certainly see them maybe trading back. They need a lot of things. And if they can trade back and grab some extra draft capital, like whatever. Say they traded with the Vikings, right? They traded back to number. Now let's see here. Let's see here. Where are we at here? Giants. Here we go. Trade. All right, here we go. Let's go right here. Right. I'm still sharing my screen. Good. Cool. Patriots 2,200. Now, if they traded back with the Vikings, if the Vikings want, that would be 2,200, and I'll just round this off to 1,200. So the Vikings would have to come up with another 1,000, at least 1,000. So the Vikings got this one here, so that's 750. So they need to come up with another 250. Now I don't know where the hell the Vikings. Oh, the Vikings don't have a second round pick because they traded that away to get back into the first round. So where the heck is Minnesota at here? They need to come up with at least another 250. Did they even have a Vikings have a third round pick? Wow, maybe they don't. So they would have to give probably Minnesota, as I'm saying, I mean, this is what they had to do to probably trade away this, that, and the other thing in their firstborn to get back into the first round. So their next pick is in the fourth round, it looks like, unless I'm totally missing something there. But they would have to come up with at least 250 extra points if they wanted to trade with New England to get the third best quarterback. Now, so that would have to be a pick next year. All right. But they would have at least one pick next year. Right. So basically what they'd have to do, they'd have to trade with the Patriots. They'd have to give them pick 11, pick 23. I don't know if they want to give up their fourth round pick or whatever. And I mean, they got a fifth round pick here, 157. These picks aren't worth much at all or anything. But, I can certainly see the Patriots without question, maybe moving back, getting getting two first round picks, getting two players, right? And then maybe getting a third round pick the following season, maybe. Or maybe getting a second round pick next year. Who knows, right? That would certainly help build their roster. But, with Drake, man, it was a good chance. Obviously these three guys, these three guys right here are not making it to the Giants. Good possibility. I said, unless the Giants, for some reason, whatever, were to trade up. But, I mean, the capital the Giants would have to give to jump up to grab one of those guys. The Giants have so many holes. Right, and they really need to fill those holes, and to give away like say 4 picks to pick your quarterback, those 4 picks you'd have to give up or whatever, maybe to get your one quarterback. Those 3 other holes you could have filled. So with those 4 picks, you could fill 4 other holes instead of a quarterback. But we'll have to wait and see. But McCarthy here, let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, very, very, very impressive here, right? 90.6 overall. His passing grade, 87.3. Intermediate grade, 92.4. No pressure grade. I mean, a deep grade, 93.1, very good. His grade is a pressure, 72.9. Now, that's not too bad. Right? Analysis here. There we go. McCarthy is not a finished product, but he is a growing quarterback with experience in a pro-style offense and good tools, physical and mental, to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So, good, clean throwing motion. He has good arm talent, but needs to continue to get stronger and put on weight to maximize it. Added mobility. Not afraid of tight window throws, including over the middle. No reservations about throwing to the middle of the field. He can hang tough in the pocket. Okay, but a couple of cons here. Now, is this something that if he were to slide to the Giants at number 6, are these cons here something the Giants think that maybe they can overcome if Dable were to draft him? Just saying, right? He's a slender build. He must continue to get stronger. Now, that's something, obviously. I mean, Daniel Jones you've seen him add on like basically 10 pounds in 1 year. You could see him, one year looking kind of thin and all that. Then the next year putting on a bunch of some nice muscle and everything like that. So that's not a problem at all. And the thing is with McCarthy, it's not like not so much with Daniels, but I mean with Daniels, it's like if Daniels puts on like say 15 or 20 pounds, is that going to slow him down? With McCarthy, that's really not going to be much of a problem because you're not drafting McCarthy to be a running quarterback. Now, he might have to run from time to time, but you draft him basically, he might be more of a pocket quarterback. But adding size and strength and all of that, that's absolutely, this can be done. Absolutely. I mean, you figure in the first, his first year, right? He can add on 5 to 10 pounds. In the second year, he can add on another 5. So in the first couple of years, he can certainly easily put on 15 pounds worth of nice weight without question and get stronger. I mean, Phil Simms really did that. Phil Simms really started hitting the weights. After he just started getting beat up all the time and everything, he started hitting the weights and he started becoming a lot more durable. Let me tell you what. Right? He can get locked onto his primary reads, which is not good. That's kind of like the Daniel Jones kind of thing, right? So his decision-making took a step forward in 2023, but it needs to become more consistent, especially pre-snap. So, I mean, that's something that, without question, that may be something that Dable thinks he can work with, right? All right, then we got Bo Nix. Now, this is going to start coupling up with the Giants maybe jumping back. Maybe I'm going to, in a few minutes here, talk about jumping back into the first round. Okay, so you might have to do something like that if they wanted to get a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix. But would also, because really, if they jump back into the first round, that would obviously allow them to have the quarterback on 5 years. They can have to pick up the 5th-year option, right? So basically, if they had the quarterback, just saying, say they draft Bo Nix here, they jump back in, and we're going to talk about them making a trade, I think, with the Chiefs. I think it's Patty Trainer talks about it. So they make a trade with the Chiefs at 32. So now we're back in the first round. We take Bo Nix. Now we got him for 5 seasons. So if he had to sit for, say, even 2 seasons, right? Then give the Giants 2 seasons. He'd be on the sideline for, say, 2 seasons. He can learn the offense and this, that, and the other thing and all that. And we can also start adding pieces to the puzzle. So when he does go on the field, we'll have, obviously he's going to have a number 1 wide receiver, right? Hopefully the offensive line will be a little bit better with Carmen Brasilla there. You can certainly draft an additional running back in the next year or 2. Really to help out. You got Singletary, you got Gray, but you can certainly draft another running back. We do need a receiving tight end, right? But you can add pieces to the puzzle, especially on offense and over the next couple of seasons. So if Bo Nix, when he is ready to take the field, so say he sits for 2 seasons, I'm just throwing numbers out there, right? That means he would, for 2 seasons, you can add pieces to the puzzle. And, when he does hit the field, you'll have him for 3 seasons on a rookie deal, right? And you can keep adding pieces to the puzzle, right? So, I mean, that would be the nice thing about, obviously the one nice thing about jumping back into the first round, because, obviously, if you kind of if Shane and Dable, they're kind of itching to draft the quarterback, and it goes into the second round, and we got to wait to number 47. The second round starts with pick 33, and you got to wait from 33 to 47 and hope, this guy don't get taken or this guy don't get taken. So. But then again, it's what's it worth, Tom? Right? Is it worth trading away your second round pick, another fourth round pick, or a third round pick to jump from 47 up into the first, back into the, a second and a third to jump back in to pick a guy who might sit for a couple seasons? It's got to weigh that out. But we got Bo Nix here. He was the third highest graded quarterback according to PFF in 93. What we got here? Passing grade 92.7, intermediate grade 94.7, no pressure grade 91.9, deep grade 95.5. Very nice, right? And pressure grade 91. Very good. Very good. And he, and you look here, game played. He played 14, he played 13. I'm not sure what happened here. He played in 10, not sure. But 45 touchdowns, 3. So what do we got? 74 touchdowns to 10 interceptions past 2 seasons. Right, so we got 35 and 45. So he's throwing for 8,000 yards in the past 2 seasons. So, all right, analysis. Nix's experience manifests in the form of pre-snap reads, play under pressure, and avoiding negatives. His footwork needs to be more disciplined, but that's something you can certainly, without question, work on. Without question. Footwork, absolutely. Stuff up here, you can try to work on it, but sometimes if you ain't got it, if you don't have the quick this and that, it's a little hard sometimes to totally work out all the bugs up here. But as far as footwork and stuff like that, adding on muscle and weight, that's stuff that can be worked on. And he will take some time to really read progressions better in the NFL. So, that's something, he's going to have to work on. However, he is a quarterback with starting caliber tools in his arm and legs, and he comes with added out-of-structure playmaking. So his pros. Arm strength is adequate for the NFL level. Mobility is definitely a plus to his game. Good feel for pocket pressure and where to go with the ball afterwards. Does well to avoid negative throws and not take sacks. Smart player. Okay. But his cons. He has a bad habit of fading away when he doesn't need to. No, that's not good, but that's something you can work on. His feet aren't always married with his upper body. Sometimes they're too heavy, which is when his accuracy can dip. Once again, that's something you can work on. I don't mind a quick pass offense, but he does rely on the first read too often, which is not, obviously, always not ideal. And he could stand to climb the pocket more. Well, that's something you can work on as well, too. So, all right, next we got, of course, they did go out and, they looked at Penix, but they're also out there. Penix was out there, but also Mr. Dunzier was out there as well, too. So, hey, who knows? Crazier things can happen. Giants drafted Dunzier at number 6, and they wind up drafting Penix back when they jump back in the first round or in the second round, something like that. Crazier things can happen, right? So Penix here was the 11th rated quarterback overall, but he was a 91.1. He's a 93. The 93 is the third ranked quarterback, and 91.1 is the 11th. So he was just right there with Bo Nix. The problem was with Penix is his injury history. Passing grade 90.5, intermediate grade 90.9, no pressure grade 92.2, deep grade 93.5, pressure grade 65.3. Now that's, but you look, I did have 15. He did play in 15 games, right? Almost 5,000 yards passing. So analysis here. What do we got here? Penix has an NFL level talent arm. In addition to 2 years of good health and top-tier production and a spread-out shotgun offense. Well, that's something the Giants may not going to have, right? However, to become a consistent starter at a top 15 quarterback in the league, he will need to clean up his footwork, something you can work on. Throw with more anticipation and touch, which will improve ball placement as well as being willing to attack the middle of the field. That's something that McCarthy does a very good job attacking the middle of the field. Right. Pros, man, you'll notice here, right? There's 3 pros and there's 5 cons. So his starting caliber NFL arm, strength in distance and velocity. No hesitation to give his players a deep shot. Strong sideline thrower. Most of his production comes from throws outside the numbers, once again, which leads us back into, he needs to be willing to attack the middle of the field. He's more willing to throw the ball out there instead of in the middle of the field. So, it would wind up a lot of times, if he's dropping back the pass, where's Darren Waller at? A lot of times, probably over the middle of the field. So he's looking for Hyatt or Slayton out over there, maybe, right? Instead of Wan'Dale Robinson or Waller over the middle, right? Cons, long arms require a long sidearm wind up. So that extra 1/10 of a second or whatever to throw the ball sometimes can, have some consequences to it. Does not always throw with a strong base. Sometimes he's pushing the ball with all upper body strength. Completion rate is fine, but true ball placement is inconsistent. Little volume or success over the intermediate middle of the field. Okay. Flamethrower arm strength, leads to too much heat on his throws. Sometimes you need to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to throw a little touch. You can't always gun everything in there. So too much heat on his throws at times. He could stand to use more timing and touch. So, but once again, a lot of this stuff is, it's all going to wind up being, it's like, Shane and Dable, they got the tape and they're watching, they talk to him, they've seen him his pro days and all that. And they're like, it's either one or the other. It's either, yep, I think we can work with this guy, or nope. And we can sit here and talk all we want. We can diagram plays and show, one highlight or one low light play after the other, and this is why I think he won't work, or this why it doesn't matter what we think. All that matters is what Shane and Dable think. A lot of it's Dable, because he's the quarterback whisperer, right? What does Dable think? Does Dable think he can look at the guy and turn him into a productive NFL quarterback? That's the big thing, right? All right, where are we at here? Okay, then we got the Rattle Man, right? Now, he's more of possibly a third-round kind of guy, right? There's a good chance he'll be there at 47 when the Giants pick. So you'll notice he took a little bit of a dip here. Now, this might have been 86, might have been when he was at Oklahoma. But at 77, he was the 96th graded quarterback, right? All right, so let's see what we got here. Passing grade, 72.5. But once again, you got to look. He's at South Carolina, okay? Not the most, we're not talking Alabama. We're not talking Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, right? We're talking South Carolina. Not always, the building block, the NFL building block of NFL talent, right? So, the talent level that he had there was not equal to some of the other schools. Kind of like what Daniel Jones had at Duke. You go to Duke to play basketball. You don't go to Duke to become a wide receiver in the NFL. Newsflash, right? Deep grade 85.7, pressure grade 56.5, no pressure 80, intermediate grade 86.3. Now, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Passer rating 99.1. Analysis. Let's see here. Rattle has a mature game with fundamentals and pocket presence. In addition to good accuracy in and out of structure, his arm is adequate, but he needs to continue to improve at seeing additional coverage defenders post-snap. He projects as a day 2 quarterback with starting potential. So once again, Shane, especially somebody like him, because good chance to pick 47, he'll be there. If he might even be there in the third round for the Giants. Who knows? Quite possibly. And once again, it's Dable, Shane Dable, whatever, they're looking at him, and it's kind of like it's either the yay or the nay. It's either that, right? Back in the ancient times, whatever, when they would send the lions out, or whatever, they got, the can, whatever it was, gave thumbs up. They'd let the guy live. If he went down like that, they let the guy, I guess, let the lions kill the guy or whatever. So it's either this or this. What does Dable say? Can have all the pros in the world, all the cons in the world. But if Dable goes, forget about it. Forget about Rattler, right? Really good footwork. Feet are light and bouncy, a good base to start his throwing motion. Not much of a rushing threat, but he has a good enough feel for pocket coverage to take yards and with his legs when presented. Pocket presence is much improved from his Oklahoma days, so that's good. Conscious to reset once moved off his spot, not afraid to attack over the intermediate middle of the field. But what do we got? Accuracy is good, but ball placement isn't at all an elite special level. Almost exclusively a shotgun quarterback. Arm talent is adequate, not top tier. Struggles to see additional coverage players. So linebackers and safeties beyond the primary player guarding his receiver. That's not good. Post-snap decision-making is still improving. Where to scramble, where to look, timing of getting to his next read, etc. So, he's a project. If we draft Rattler, right, he's definitely going to be sitting for at least a year. Right. Then you got Pratt from Tulane. I've heard some nice things about him. What we got here? What's his analysis? Very clean fundamentals. Touch passes are a strength of his game. He's not afraid to put some air under the ball. That's good. Not afraid to look to the middle of the field. Got better, more consistent manipulating coverage with his eyes in 2023. That's very important, especially if you're going deep. Try to, you want to obviously manipulate the safety over here, right? Boom, like this. You got the safety, whatever. And then come back, bam, hit high for the touchdown on the other side, on the other sideline. Ball does wobble at times due to smaller hands. All right. Arm strength is average. He has he has to really lean back to put distance on deeper passes. Chooses to take off and run instead of hitting shorter passes. So, well. All right, what we got here? Travis. Now with him, I mean, he graded 87.8. Let's see. Now it's a shame with him. Now he's only 6'1". Okay. What was 6'3"? Pratt was 6'3". So 6'1". Okay. That was a shame because he got injured. Right. What's his analysis here? Travis is a good athlete, a tough competitor, and a quarterback who has great intangibles, but for out of structure plays, his follow-through fundamentals are a mess. So he's going to need a little bit of a project here, likely due to him needing more power on his most throws, which leads to inconsistencies. He is a developmental quarterback who will be a fan favorite no matter where he goes, likely on day 3. So, if he's there, the Giants take a shot at him, in the 4th or 5th round. Hey, right? Pros: he has impressive mobility. Footwork is light, and he's constantly bouncing and ready to throw or take off. Fantastic. Keeps his eyes downfield when scrambling. Fan-frickin-tastic. Absolutely. Whatever you're doing, eyes down the field. Eyes down the field. Absolutely fantastic. The only problem with that sometimes is that, because we saw like Daniel Jones. Sometimes Daniel Jones, like he gets back in the pocket and he's like so focused. Sometimes it seems like down the field, he's got a guy ready to rip his head off who's about 2 feet from him. And he's still standing there kind of like, so sometimes, obviously keeping your head up, especially when scrambling, looking down the field is absolutely freaking huge. But sometimes you also need to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to get that, when there's somebody about to rip your head off, you need to know that too. It's nice looking down the field, but if you can't feel around you, you'll be asking for some trouble. Accurate thrower from within 50 yards when his follow-through fundamentals don't betray him. Legs kick out like a pitcher when he's trying to put extra juice on throws. All right. that's something you can work on. I mean, flicks the wrist sometimes, especially when off platform instead of following through. Well, that's something you can work on, right? He has to put his whole body into passes that will be regular throws in the NFL. So, well, we'll have to wait and see, But once again, I mean, it's going to be, right? Think we can work with this guy or no? Next, I'd like to go. The other guy I think is just. I mean, if there's other guys I've heard, but I mean, the one guy I like would be Milton here, right? 6'5", 235. Holy freaking crap, right? Talking about a quarterback. Whew. All right, passing grade 71, intermediate 81.7, no pressure 75 point, pressure grade 57.5, 57.1. Right? Do they have an analysis on him? Yes, they do. Okay. Milton has NFL level tools, but lacks the processing, instincts, and accuracy to be considered a potential starter in his current state. Now, is that something, that Dable can bring in and start working with? I'll have to wait and see. Because if he can, you're looking at like a 5th, 6th round pick right there. Right? Grab him in the 5th round, whatever, 5th, 6th round, whatever. Put him on the sideline for a couple of seasons. So we'll have to wait and see. I keep hearing this all the time, and you got to love it. Rocket launcher of an arm. Yeah, right? He will have one of the strongest arms in the league when he gets drafted. Cool. I mean, I'm saying he's 6'5". He's going to have a freaking rocket of a freaking arm. I like Josh Allen, right? Got a cannon. Can contribute to the power RPO run game immediately, right? 6'5", 235 pounds. You put some more weight on him. That could be 240, 250. Put 15 pounds of muscle on the guy, saying the first 2 or 3, put add an extra 15 pounds in the next first 2 or 3 years. Very doable. Be up around 250 with a rocket of an arm. Woo. See, at 250, you can absorb some punishment. But confident throwing outside the numbers, especially intermediate and deep. But now we have the cons. Feet can sometimes stop moving as he scans the field. Well, that's something you can work on. Accuracy can be serviceable, but the true placement is at a low rate. His feet play a role in this. Once again, if it has something to do with his feet and all, that's something you can certainly work on. There's all kinds of drills they got for that. Accuracy falters when throwing with touch. Okay. All right. Especially, sometimes they got those rocket launchers on, and that's what they depend upon a lot of times. Sometimes it's from throwing like a 500 mile an hour fastball and just trying to, just lob it up there with some touch. It's a little bit different. Locks on his primary reads often. Not good. That's not good. Gets tunnel vision when scanning the field. Loses timing of progressions and can sometimes not feel pressure around him. Not good either. So, once again, there's a reason, there's a reason why. And also this too, is that this is what PFF has to say, right? That may not be what Joe Shane and Brian Dable have to say. They might have different opinions. But a lot of these things can be worked on, right? Okay. What we got? All right, now here we go. Now here we are. Giants going to use Ezekiel Trezeguet. I guess it is, right? I think it's him. Offers interesting trade proposal to get Giants into the bottom of round 1. All right. Giants have expressed belief in starting quarterback Daniel Jones, but that doesn't mean that they won't attempt to draft a quarterback at some point later this month. But with the top 4 quarterbacks, Williams, May, Daniels, and McCarthy likely to be off the board by the time the Giants go on the clock at number 6, New York might very well have to trade back into the bottom of the first round if it wants one of the other top guys. What would such a trade entail? Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox proposed this scenario involving the Kansas City Chiefs, who hold pick 32 in the first round. Now, with the Chiefs, that would certainly be, they would pick up quite possibly in this trade right here, they would pick up, they would get the Giants, the Chiefs would get pick 47, and so we'd have to give up our, the thing with this I don't like too much about this is now you're giving up your next 2 picks. I would like it to be where it's like a conditional 3rd round pick for the following season. That way, next season you have your 1st round and your 2nd round. You don't have a 3rd, but you've got a 4th. Instead of giving up 2 in this one draft, right? I would like to give up 1 in this draft and 1 in next draft. Give up your 2nd, obviously, to move on up, and then maybe you don't give up. You keep your 3rd. Maybe you give up your 3rd next season, but it is what it is. So the Giants will get pick 131 and the pick 32, right? A scenario involving the Giants trading back into the bottom of the 1st round for a quarterback, assuming they draft the receiver at number 6, which is still a very much more realistic scenario at this point. Not only makes sense, but it would be less taxing on the Giants draft haul. Yep, both for this year and next year. Absolutely. Trade up from 6 likely means the Giants will have to give up top premium picks in next year's class. Something special. General Manager Joe Schoen should approach with caution. I would really hope he doesn't do that. Trading back into the bottom of the 1st round, have a chance at Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, or maybe Mike Penix, right? Penix Jr., right? Once again, so. Let's look at the proposal. Knox notes that the 2024 draft class has an impressive 2nd tier of talent. So teams like the Chiefs, who should be eager to augment their roster with rookie contracts, should be plenty interested in trading out of round 1. Absolutely. So the Chiefs would get the Giants 2nd round and 3rd round for this season. Then the Chiefs trade back. They have 2 2nd round picks and they'll have 2 3rd round picks. Right? So they do their... they do a good job at drafting, right? And they get themselves 4 players between the 2nd and 3rd round to contribute. And there would be 4 relatively cheaper guys instead of maybe somebody in the 1st round. But the proposed trade structure, though, seems a little too unrealistic. It's unlikely that Schoen will want to sit out day 2 of the draft. Yeah. That's why I said that's why it would be like, give them, that's what I'm saying, give them a conditional pick, next year draft, a conditional 3rd round pick, next year's draft. According to the Draft Tech trade value chart, the 32nd pick is worth $590, and the compensation proposed here would be worth $670. Instead, we would propose sending the 2nd round pick and the 2025 4th round to the Chiefs because the Giants, per over the cap, are currently projected to get a compensatory 4th round selection. No, I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know where, because I'm going to show you in this chart. Excuse me a second here. Sorry. I don't know where they're going with this. I can't even talk. I don't even know. Sometimes somebody, it's just, I can't talk. Unless the Giants are getting back a 4th round pick. So I don't, how the Giants are trading, and according to this, $590. That's what this is. All right. The Giants got this $430. So the Giants would have to give them 160 points, at least 160 points. So they're talking about maybe the compensatory pick for next year's draft, which usually compensatory picks are like the last picks in the round. So the Giants would have one of the last picks in the 4th round. Here's the 4th round. The pick might be worth 40 points, maybe even less than that. So I don't know how they're talking about giving 40 points here and this, which would be worth 470 for something that's worth 590. I don't understand that. That makes absolutely no sense at all to me whatsoever. Absolutely no sense. Why the Chiefs would want to do that. Fall back 15 spots out of the 1st round to this just to pick up pick number 135. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. sense whatsoever to me. With 2 such picks, the Giants might be more agreeable to parting with one of those picks, the same as they did this year when they gave up one of their second-round picks to acquire edge rusher Brian Burns in a trade with the Carolina Panthers. Now, that makes a lot of sense. Let's give you one of our 4th-round picks. Or I mean, you can look at it like that, too. The one thing, maybe not trade up your compensatory pick, right? Because that's like the last pick in the round. But maybe, if the Giants were to trade their 4th-round pick, so they still need to come up with 160 points. Now, there's nobody in the 4th round that's worth 160 points. Even if the Giants are picking first in the 4th round, it's like let's just say 100 points, right? It's 100 points, and 4th they'd be worth 530. How can they give up? Why would the Chiefs accept 530 points in return and give them a 1st-round pick, which is worth 590? That makes no sense whatsoever to me. Absolutely none. The only thing that would make any sense would be, and I said, and that would be the 1st pick. Say the Giants are drafting around here. I mean, it's like 60 or 70 points. Say it's worth 70 points. So they got 430 and 70 would be 500. They still need to come up with another 90 points. Where the hell? I mean, so some of the people, what they're talking about just doesn't make much sense. But, I mean, so you could see here, I mean, the Giants, they'd have to, even if they traded with the 49ers, right? Possibly. 49ers, could use probably some extra draft capital, right? So, I mean, maybe the Ravens, who knows, right? But obviously, the farther up you trade here, maybe right here, right? Maybe Brandon Beane, right? Who knows, right? But obviously here, if they traded with him, they're going to have to come up with 230 points. And what that would include would be their 3rd-round pick. See? The Giants were to trade with Brandon Beane and the Bills for 660. They would have to give him 430 and 240, right? That would give them 670. So the Giants would give them 670. And it would 660. So if the Bills trade out of the 1st round, they would pick up an additional 2nd and a 3rd. As I said, and they mentioned very, very well in that article right there. Does Shane want to jump up into the 1st round, have 2 1st-round picks? Cool. Hey, you got your wide receiver and hopefully maybe your quarterback for the future. Freaking awesome. But would Shane want to? Day 2 sits around. He's just sitting there eating Cheetos and drinking Kool-Aid while everybody drafts. Does he want to do that? I don't think so. So I'm saying, by possibly, can we give you a condition, a 3rd-round pick next year, right? That way, next year, if we give up our 3rd-round pick, we'll still have a 2nd-round pick. So when day 2 rolls around, they'll still have something to pick, right? Giving up both your picks on day 2. That's a bit iffy. That's a bit iffy. But as what you can see, I mean, the Giants would have to, with the Chiefs, the Giants would have to give up this pick here, right? And they'd have to give up. Actually, I mean, really, what the Giants would have to do, they would have to give up this pick here, maybe their 4th-round pick, maybe the compensatory pick next year. I don't know, because you can see once you get into like the 4th round, a lot of the values just start falling off the board right here. I mean, you get to the 6th round and the 7th round. Every pick in the 7th round is worth a point. The 7th round picks are basically pretty much, I don't want to say worthless, but because also you get to the point where you get to the 7th round, because as soon as the draft's over, you got all these other undrafted free agents, right? You can go after as well. So. But you can see what it would certainly would cost the Giants. The big question is, do the Giants want to trade back into the 1st round? But you have to get the quarterback for 5 seasons, which would be huge, especially if he's going to sit for a season or 2. Would be huge. But the problem is, would it cost the Giants a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick? And if it does, does Shane want to give both those picks from this year's draft to a team where day 2 we have no picks? I don't think so. All right, what do we got here? All right, next. Giants could look to later rounds to a quarterback in the NFL draft. Absolutely. Now, there's a lot of these guys we talked about before, right? A lot of these guys, right? It can be done because it has been done. Not often, mind you, but not so rarely that it is to be dismissed as far as drafting or getting a starting caliber quarterback in later rounds. A franchise-type quarterback, or at least a legit and winning starting quarterback, can be identified and selected after the first handful of picks in any given draft. Got Michael Penix there, right? The rush to take one at number 1 overall and number 2 or 3 is usually too tempting for a general manager to pass up. This is why players at this position are overanalyzed and misevaluated more egregiously than players at any other position. It is unwise to believe much of what is uttered from team executives this time of year, but Giants general manager Joe Schoen has said it so frequently that it is imprudent to ignore the message. I mean, a lot of times what they might wind up saying, it's kind of like smoke screens, right? Just to put some. I'll tell you what, I don't know, that McCarthy. Whew, I don't know. We're gonna keep an eye on him. Oh, then everybody's texting. Oh my God, Shane said they're keeping an eye on McCarthy. Oh my God, McCarthy's the Giants guy. Oh my God, you know what I mean? So a lot of it's smoke, right? When it comes to finding a quarterback, he insists the top of the draft is always fertile ground for shopping, but the top of the draft is not the only aisle that has quality on the shelves. Absolutely. Shane mentioned the 2017 draft as an example of restraint paying off with positive returns. Only one quarterback went in the top 9 picks that year. Mitchell Trubisky to the Bears at number 2 overall. How did that work out? In what turned out to be an unfortunate selection. The Chiefs took Patrick Mahomes at number 10. How did that work out? And the Texans took Deshaun Watson at number 12. Both teams struck gold there. Yep. A more telling example of mining for jewels deeper in the draft came in 2012. What happened in 2012? Glad you asked. They got right there, we got the picture there of the rattle man, right? It was readily apparent that Andrew Luck would go to the Colts with the first pick, and only injuries kept Luck from achieving enduring stardom and possibly Hall of Fame status. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for injuries, he'd probably still be playing. 2012, 2022, 2020, this will be his 13th season coming up. He could still be around, but the injuries. Robert Griffin III went number 2 that year to Washington, and he was an immediate smash hit. Difficult to deal with for opposing defenses with his run-pass skills, but his little body gave out on him. Even the Andrew Luck draft, some of the best quarterbacks out of that draft are still playing, Shane said. Recently, the NFL's annual league meeting in Orlando, Ryan Tannehill was still starting last year. Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, those guys went to not 1, 2, like Rob. Those guys went not 1 and 2, like Robert Griffin. I just think the quarterback position is, I would say, the most important position. Oh, yeah. And GM said in our meetings, it is the most important position in sports. I would disagree because of the level of difficulty playing the position. Yeah, it's very important in the process again, and it's an exact science, and you try to do as much homework as you can to, again, eliminate the margin for error and make the best decision. The Giants were not in quarterback procurement business in Shane's first 2 years overseeing the draft. What we got there? J.J. McCarthy. Yep. Oops. They are not all in for one this time around, but they are sniffing around, perhaps more than merely sniffing around, to add a room that includes Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Tommy DeVito. Holding number 6 overall pick, the Giants are not in a prime position to sit back and get one of the highest rated passers such as Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May, could be off the board with the first 3 picks. J.J. McCarthy is an eye of the beholder prospect and could go in the top 10 or slide down a few spots. Be hard to think that he would actually get past 11, 12, or 13, because that's where you get the Vikings, the Broncos, and the Raiders. Having traded away one of the 2 second-round picks to land defensive end Brian Burns in a deal with the Panthers, the Giants are left with only 6 selections this year. They do not have much 2024 draft equity to work with if they want to move up to get a quarterback. I think it would just be too costly. Too costly. I'd have a hard time seeing them do that. Using history as a guide, Shane's assessment of the 2012 draft tips that tip the hats to smart teams with excellent coaches and the ability to develop talent in finding a quarterback outside of the top 5 or 10. That year, Tannehill went number 8 to the Dolphins and was a starter for the better part of 11 seasons in Miami and Tennessee, compiling a record of 81-70. He is currently looking for his next team. That draft also unearthed Russell Wilson in the 3rd round and Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. Both have been prolific players and will be starters in new places in 2024. Cousins moving on to the Falcons and Wilson hooking on with the Steelers. Both, as it turns out, were draft steals. Is there a gem out there outside of the 1st round this year? We'll have to wait and see. The next quarterback tier is Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Pratt of Tulane, Spencer Rattler, and Travis are players who will likely make it into the 2nd round, and for a few of them into day 3, possibly rounds 4 to 7 of this draft. As I said, don't forget about Milton either. Scoff at them if you wish, but no one is looking down on Brock Purdy of the 49ers, who went 262nd in the 2022 draft, dead last, right? And is entrenched as a starter for the NFC Super Bowl entry a few months ago. Mr. Irrelevant, right? But let's also not forget what he was surrounded with, right? I mean, George Kittle, right? Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey, great offensive line. Williams, one of the best, if not the best left tackle in all football, right? That's what was put around them, right? But that's the reason, also another reason why that could be put around him was because Brock Purdy is a 7th round selection. He's not, he's still on his rookie deal. He's not somebody, who's drafted in the 1st round who wants $50, $60 million a season. Because when they want $50, $60 million a season, guess what? Bye-bye to Kittles, bye-bye to McCaffrey, bye-bye to half your talent on the team. Because why? Because you want all your money. The more money you want, the less money there is to spread around to buy other players, right? So, but once again, is that you have, let's not forget, Paul Dottino, right? He did something. It was over the last, I think it was from the 2000 draft to the 2020 draft. So 21 years, 21 drafts right there. He didn't do the last year's draft or the 2022 draft. Basically, he did drafts where the guys who've been in the league for, I guess, at least 4 years. So if you go up to the 2020 draft, right, the guys have been in 2020, 21, 22, and 23. So they have at least 4 years in the league. So Paul Dottino of Big Blue Kickoff Live, it was from the 2000 draft to the 2020 draft. So 21 drafts, right? And what he did was he broke down the drafts into 1st round players, 1st round, just 1st round only. If you're pick 1 through 10 in those 21 drafts, this is how it works out. 55, 44, 33. Can't get any much easier than that. If your picks 1 through 10 in those 21 drafts, you have a 55% chance of making it to a Pro Bowl. Not an All-Pro, not a Hall of Famer, just a Pro Bowl, which is the easiest of everything, right? He wasn't talking about Hall of Fame, none of that. A Pro Bowl, an All-Pro is harder than a Pro Bowler. So you got a top 10. Basically, it's a flip of a coin. 55%, almost a flip of the coin. If he's going to be an All-Pro, once again, which is the least, an All-Pro is even better. It's harder to get, right? picks 11 through 20 over those same drafts from 2000 to 2020. Picks 11 to 20, 44. You have a 44% chance of becoming a Pro Bowler. Not an All-Pro, Pro Bowler. Then picks 21 to 30. I don't think he did 31 and 32, but he did 21 to 30. Those 10 picks right there. 33% chance of becoming a Pro Bowler. So, I mean, even just the top 10, and we're not even talking about quarterbacks. He didn't talk about the quarterback, but just the guys taken in the top 10. Basically, it's a flip of the coin as far as those guys are going to be a Pro Bowl or not. So it doesn't mean that, certainly can't draft you can't get a diamond in the rough later on, although obviously it's a little bit harder, right? But just because you draft somebody in the top 5 or top 6 or 7 something does not guarantee you, we got a Hall of Famer, right? Does not guarantee that. All right, here we go. Let's dive in, right? I tell you what, the Bills gave up. They brought in some wide receivers. They traded away Diggs and this, that. But I'll tell you what, they lost a lot of guys. They lost quite a few guys. They signed a lot of guys though too, but they lost a lot of guys. Gonna be interesting to see how they fare this year, especially against the Dolphins and against the Jets. Because if the Jets can find themselves on offense, if Aaron Rodgers can actually stay healthy for more than 4, let's say Aaron Rodgers stays healthy for 5 plays. Right? I'm saying, but if the Jets can stay healthy, especially offensive wise, they got the defense. And the Dolphins can get a little bit better, right? They were very, very good last season, but they can get a little bit better, right? It's going to be hard for the Bills because they've lost a lot. They lost a lot. Now, of course, once they start trading away Stephon Diggs and all these other guys, and Poyer is gone, and right, Williams, they didn't bring him back, right? Excuse me, sorry. You got to get these articles. It's like, well, I guess the Bills are going to get rid of Josh Allen too, right? Oh boy, that's some funny stuff. Yep. There we go. The Giants-Bill trade for Josh Allen would rock the NFL before draft night. Joe Schoen could drop an atomic bomb in the NFL by trading for Josh Allen. Well, you know one thing, right? You know one thing, that Dable can get the best out of him, right? Unfortunately, it would wind up costing the Giants would not obviously be getting one of the top wide receivers in the draft. Yeah, but it is what it is. Buffalo Bills decided to send shockwaves around the NFL with a deal that saw Stephon Diggs traded to the Houston Texans. The Giants could be bold if they want to see if the Bills are in a potential rebuilding phase. Well, if anybody can reach out to Brandon Beane, it's Joe Schoen. For the last 3 months, we've speculated about the Giants looking into getting a quarterback with the number 6 overall pick. So in this case, let's flip the narrative. Instead of looking at quarterback prospects, why not look at one of the best quarterbacks in the league? Yes. We are suggesting the Giants try and trade for Josh Allen. If the Bills' window is closing or is closed, Josh Allen to the Giants at number 6. Look at that picture right there, huh? That looks pretty good. Because the reason why Josh Allen would be getting number 8 was because Daniel Jones would be going to the Bills. Worth it for Joe Schoen to call his old buddy and Brandon Beane and see if he's even remotely interested. The Giants trading for Josh Allen would be great news for Brian Dable. Granted, the conversation would have to involve more than just the number 6 overall pick. Oh, my God, yeah. Given we are talking about one of the best quarterbacks in the league with Allen, but that pick the Giants hold is where the trade talks would have to start. As we have done in the past in other trade proposals, using the Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff trade structure may be the framework of where a deal would get done. So here's the trade proposal we are offering. Okay. Giants just get Josh Allen. Cool. The Bills get Daniel Jones. Cool. I love it. the number 6 overall pick in 2024, the Giants' first-round pick in 2025, a 2026 second-round pick, and a 2024 third-round pick. So this way, what I like about this here, right? And, they get Daniel Jones, who was the first-round pick, but they would get 2 firsts, a second, and a third. I still think that's a little weak, but you can always propose them. But what I like about this is that the Giants would still be getting their second-round pick for this season, so they could still go out and get themselves a wide receiver. Right? You can get a very good. You're not going to get a Dunzier or a Neighbors or a Marvin Harrison Jr., but there's going to be some very good wide receivers in the second round. So you would get Josh Allen. You'd have Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan. You'd have Drew Lock. You got Josh Allen. Boom! End of story. Quarterback situation solved. Boom! Put it in the books, baby. We don't no more. We need a quarterback. No. You take that conversation, you heave it as far as you can. No more conversation about the Giants needing a quarterback. That's over and done with. Second round, you take yourself a wide receiver. Give yourself Josh Allen, another weapon to throw the ball to. Maybe later on, if you want to go hog wild crazy, right? Third round, you can maybe draft a good, maybe if there's a receiving tight end out. The third round, you trade your third round pick away. But I'm saying maybe in the fourth round, you grab another running back or something like that. So you can really bolster your offense. But I'm saying you wouldn't get one of the top elite wide receivers, but still, if you have Hyatt, if you got Robinson, you got Slayton, and you can get yourself a very good wide receiver in the second round, that would really help. Now, it wouldn't be Stephon Diggs, but that would help Josh Allen big time, especially if Waller were to come back. That could be huge because then in next season, you can go out and get yourself a tight end to help Josh Allen. Right? That was most of the framework of the trade that the Rams and the Lions used back in 2021. They said Stafford from Detroit to the squad he ended up winning a Super Bowl with. With this proposal, giving how good Allen is, we give Buffalo the 2026 second rounder as well. Absolutely. Oh, my God. In this case, yes, the Bills would be going from Allen to Jones, but like the Lions did at the time, going from Stafford to Goff. However, they also have the number 6 overall pick to work with, a high trade commodity and worth a lot to a team that acquires it. It would also give the Bills a second first-round pick as well in the 2024 NFL draft, as they will already have the 28th overall to their name. So, I mean, yeah. So if the Bills got the 6th pick, they can be, obviously, once again, they can be open, right? And they can trade back, maybe get a couple more picks. So they can really just start acquiring all kinds of picks to help rebuild the team. Now, I don't know how far they're going to go with Daniel Jones as the quarterback, but that's another story. The next question, one we've gotten all over social media since we floated the trade offer, is can the Giants take on Allen's current contract, which is a 6-year, $258 million deal? With Allen's contract as is and with the Giants' current salary cap space as is, probably not. Reworks would have to be done to Allen's deal, plus restructured to the other Giants players as well. It would be a lot of work to move money around, but for a quarterback with the level of play that Allen provides, you just want to make it work if you're Joe Schoen and the Giants. Absolutely. I think, yeah. I mean, that would be pretty cool. But I mean, I think the Bills are, just trying to retool whatever. They got the biggest thing, if you got yourself your quarterback, okay, boom. That's peace of mind right there. Okay, what else do we need? We got the quarterback. We're the toughest position in all sports. We got that. Oh, we got top 5 quarterback, whatever you want to put him, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever you want to put him. But we got ourselves the quarterback. We don't need a quarterback. We need other guys to fill in. So then there's this last one here is 5 Josh Allen trade destinations after Bills dump his favorite weapon and more. The Buffalo Bills trading away Stephon Diggs has me completely out of the team going forward. And just like that, the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl window has been slammed shut. To be fair, it was already closed. Too bad Bills Mafia didn't seem to know that. In the midst of sacrificing one of their own to be blessed, open air pit in the Orchard Park, General Manager Brandon Beane felt like destroying something beautiful. Trading away wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans is punting on third down. Doesn't matter if he was unhappy or even what the Bills got returned for him. You just made a serious contender in the AFC even better. Outside of the two-time defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs, you have to like the Texans' chances of getting to New Orleans next February. A winning team does not send an ascending team in conference their second best player in the trade. Well, I mean, but see, the thing is, the Bills can get themselves, or maybe not quite some, they might, Stephon Diggs, because he's on his way down. Right? They can draft themselves some really good wide receivers in the first or second round. They can double dip if they want to. Get themselves 2 really good wide receivers. So, now this would be interesting. They trade. Dallas Cowboys could send Dak Prescott to Orchard Park in a deal. That would be interesting. But here we go. New York Giants have Brian Dable and Joe Shane, but that is about it. New York Giants are the team everybody and their brother would want to see Allen be traded over to, besides the fact that Brian Dable is the head coach and Joe Shane is the general manager. Why would you want to send anybody to the Giants? Allen may fit the clean-cut mold of New York, but he's a bucking Bronco at heart. He wouldn't be the player he is today playing in a major media market. Well, we'll see. Even if the Giants were to send Daniel Jones, a number 6 overall pick, to Orchard Park, New York would still be one of the worst teams in the NFC. While trading for Allen could extend Dable and Shane's shelf life in New York, it still doesn't change the fact that the Giants' ownership is a dysfunctional mess. Well, that's your opinion. All right. Tennessee Titans. They're about a year. This is funny. They're about a year away from being a year away. The Washington Commanders could break the NFL draft with this trade. That would be interesting. That might be rather tempting. If they were to trade, the Bills would trade Allen to the Commanders and get the 2nd overall pick. Then they can get another second overall pick, and they'd have to get, I don't know what else they'd have to want to give them. But, I mean, second overall pick and another first-round pick at least, and somebody else or something else. But then they got the Denver Broncos would no longer be a hot pile of garbage if they got Josh Allen. Now, the thing is here with the I don't know, if the Broncos were to trade for him, right? I mean, they don't. It's not like they have Russell Wilson and we'll give you Russell Wilson, our first-round pick, and all that. I mean, I don't know what they'd be sending over to them. I mean, even they got pick 12. I think they're pick 12. I mean, you got pick 12. How many other first-rounders we talking? You're going to throw a second and a third round? Yeah, I mean, so at least with the Giants, we give them Daniel Jones. But pick 6, another first rounder, maybe a second round and a third rounder. Okay, maybe we're talking. I still wouldn't do it if I was the Bills. But who knows? But I'm saying with the Broncos don't have nobody to send over there. They have no quarterback to send over, right? And they'd be sending over pick 12, I think, plus they have to send over at least probably, at least one more first rounder, plus other multiple picks. So don't know about that. But if anybody can work their magic, right? Because let's not forget, right, that Joe Shane at one point in time worked with I can't remember the guys, the general manager for the Panthers. They worked for like a year or so, right? I think on the same team. So there's familiarity there, right? So they struck a deal. Because let's not forget, the year before, the Rams wanted to get Burns. They were going to give up 2 first rounders, and I think maybe like a second rounder too for Brian Burns. And the Panthers was like, nah, we're good. No, thank you. 2 firsts and like a second. And Panthers says, nah, we're good. No, thanks. But somehow the Giants got him for a second and a 5th. Go figure. It's kind of the same thing like with Joe Shane. We gave up a 3rd and a 5th like 37 years ago to get Leonard Williams, 3rd and a 5th. We trade him to Seattle and we get a second in it. We use him for like 3-4 years and we get a second and a 5th. What? Huh? Joe Shane. I'm not saying he's the greatest GM in the world or whatever, but that's not bad. That's a nice maneuver, right? But I said, if anybody can pick the phone up and talk to Brandon Beane and say, hey, what's up, buddy? How's it going? How's that rebuild going? Huh? Anybody else you want to get rid of? Right? I'll tell you what, it would certainly get us, especially if we could keep our second round pick, because then you get your quarterback situation, boom, done and over with. No more Daniel Jones. Get out of here. We got our quarterback for the next 10 years. Boom, right? And then we had to keep a second round pick. Then in the second round, we can draft a really good wide receiver to add to our group. And if Carmen Brasillo can work some magic with that offensive line and with Devin Singletary, I'm not saying we're going to be a top 10 offense, but with Josh Allen being able to run and throw, we'll score more than 15 points a game. That I can guarantee you. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 20 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. For anybody who's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me, as always. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.